Us have beefs, and neither one of them was scared of each other. And so when that incident happened,
Have on monster, and neither one of them frightened of one another thus. When that occurrence happened, he resembled it's a two, for one better believe it, we can get compensated. And he just beat up my nephew, which we got to do work on something for at any rate. Thus Puff is at fault, for putting it out there he met with Kefi D. As per key debup keyed. Enter you on V, he be the illegitimate with it, you know the LPD, or the DEA team. Which what it truly was spilled reports have quite recently dropped a stunner that is turning the entire 2Pac murder secret on its head. For a really long time this case has been out, and out of question, enclosed by a secret, yet presently. The plot is thickening more than ever you see, was for some time accepted that Orlando Anderson was the person who pulled the trigger and took 2Pac from us, yet these new disclosures are turning the tables and expressing the contrary. That is correct, it resembles a game-changing turn in a blockbuster spine chiller. And the world is humming with hypothesis and interest. Might there be more going on than we at any point envisioned that guaranteed, which we realize wasn't accurate? Definitely better believe it. Check this out. We don't discuss things that are hogwash. We don't engage babble my sibling. So we not in any event going to try and go there with all due regard, yet I value you as a writer, asking thank you an observer from the 1996 Las Vegas shooting that asserted 2Pac's life has approached. And what they're talking about could revamp history. You see, it's for some time been thought that Orlando Anderson was the hitman in this scandalous drive-by shooting. Yet think about what as per this witness, who's associated with the Southside Compton Graves Anderson, probably won't have discharged the lethal shots. After this stunning turn became visible as the observer spill of the beans to a Las Vegas excellent jury in the weeks, paving the way to the new incrimination of Dwayne Keith D. Davis. And what's more, Keith D. was in the vehicle from which the dangerous gunfire emitted. Yet it wasn't him who pulled the trigger. This disclosure denotes a seismic change in the strange homicide case that has confounded us for a really long time. Davis currently winds up in steaming hot water accused of homicide and the utilization of a destructive weapon with the aim to advance or help a group of hoodlums, as per court reports. It resembles a genuine thrill ride, and the world is abuzz with theory and shock as we enthusiastically anticipate more subtleties in this consistently developing secret. Encompassing the grievous loss of 2Pac shaker examiners are presenting a few serious cases, recommending that the shooting was a tit-for-tat counter. And here's where it gets significantly more stunning. Incidentally, there were not one yet two others in that frame of mind with Dwayne K. D. Davis and Orlando Anderson, September 7th of 1996. As we as a whole realize, 2Pac Shaker was a craftsman who was endorsed with Death Row Records, and that Death Row Records and its chief Marion Suge Knight were firmly associated with the Horde Pew criminal road pauses, and that they had a continuous quarrel with the Southside Compton Crips. Dwayne Davis was the pioneer and shot guest of the Southside Compton Crips. The evening of September 7th of 1996, 2Pac Shaker, alongside Suge Knight and individuals from their company, which incorporate individuals from MPU, came to Vegas to go to the Mike Tyson battle at the MGM Fantastic Nursery Field. Individuals from the Southside Compton Crips, which included Dwayne Davis alongside his nephew Orlando Anderson, were additionally in participation at a similar occasion, as both were leaving the battle. Individuals from Death Row Records spotted Orlando Anderson close to a Lift Cove bank. Inside the MGM time, they started to kick and punch him close to that lift bank. I will currently show you in security film as a considerable lot of you proactively connected with episode. And on this episode, you will see 2Pac Shaker, who's wearing a sparkly silken shirt with Moran Scheidt, who is a huge man in an earthy colored suit, punching and kicking Orlando Anderson. Following this episode, you'll see Insecurity intercede And afterward, they will leave the region of the battle, much to anyone's dismay that this occurrence here would eventually prompt the retaliatory shooting and passing as per an observer who spilled the tea during his fabulous jury declaration. Danger Enormistra Smith pulled the trigger. It resembles a scene straight out of a wrongdoing thrill ride with this multitude of moving parts. And startling turns the observer made sense of the experience when Davis passed the gun to Orlando. Didn't have an unmistakable shot. Larger is wiped out 6 as of now. He's 370, 400 pounds. He's grandiose discussion about a disclosure reversing the situation for a situation that has saved all of us speculating for quite a long time. It resembles the unique pieces are at last getting sorted out, and the world is watching with goated breath as reality inches nearer to the surface, and you won't have the option to hang over a major person like that. And get I mean my season of realizing things doing you won't arrive at over like that, since shells would have been popping all in large Dre's face, and all sort of stuff he can't twist down, or anything he's too enormous. Clutch your seats in light of the fact that as though this story required any more interest, Keith himself recently let the cat out of the bag. This Compton hoodlum, who goes by the name Dwayne Davis, has asserted not once, not 2 times, but rather on different occasions, that Diddy, the unrivaled Sean Combs, purportedly moved toward him with an evil solicitation to take out. In all honesty, 2Pac Shaker and record Mark Honcho Sug Knight. When the U.S. child connected for remarks, Diddy's delegates stayed tight all yet in the past. Diddy has excused such cases as rubbish. Yet here's where it gets much juicier. It just so happens Keith D has dropped these stunners in his book, as well as in online entertainment meetings. And surprisingly, in a mystery police cross-examination with the LAPD-1 more previous hoodlum from that period, James McDonald. Previously, Crowd James has approached to affirm that he heard reports about Diddy and others at Death Row Records, purportedly putting a cost on the heads of Sug and 2Pac. It appears as though strain were running high in the legendary clash between Terrible Kid Records on the East Coast and Death Row Records on the West. And as James put it, everybody had a cost on their head. The story proceeds. And it's leaving all of us as eager and anxious as ever, considering what different insider facts will be uncovered in this incredible story of hip bounce contentions, fights for control, and stunning charges. He said Diddy was terrified of suing New York, won't descend there, and attempt to find Sue that could not have possibly never happened. They was going this way. And that tit for tat, so I accept that it outgrew Pac, and big deal in light of the fact that not one of them seen it coming, not one of them thought it planned to come that way. And like I said before, Puffy was so terrified of Sudge, he needed to put something someplace to get Sugi out. How James, who is presently transformed and assists more youthful individuals with leaving the posse life, added a ton of folks had costs on their heads. So us being where we were from and what was happening, we needed to step our game up and do a similar southeast squarely in a stunning turn, a recording of a LAPD interview, including Keith D has surfaced, sending shockwaves across the hip jump world. Keith appears to let the cat out of the bag to criminal investigators, guaranteeing that, in all honesty, Diddy settled on a telephone decision to their criminal partner, Eric Von Zip, soon after 2Pac's shooting, apparently to ask, assuming that they were behind everything currently. Here's the kicker: Keith couldn't be arraigned for these cases because of a few legitimate arrangements set up, making it even more incredible, as per the recording. When Diddy was purportedly educated that their escort was without a doubt answerable for the shooting, Keith claims he was blissful as hellfire. Yet the situation starts to get interesting considerably further, as in another LAPD brief snippet, Keith proposes that Diddy took care of everything for the hit and paid the expense to Zip, who, as per Keith, saved the cash for him. And as though that wasn't sufficient to leave you wheezing, KD jumps into the delicious subtleties in his book, Compton Road Legend. As per his records, Diddy then, at that point known as Puffy or Puff Daddy, evidently requested the hit, while they were out in New York nonchalantly chomping on pyramid sandwiches and tasting pink champagne. Yet here's where it gets tremendously electrifying. Keefe affirms that Diddy dropped a stunner saying, "I have 2 or 3 issues. I should be taken care of large chief Sugi night." And Pac, calm and composed K, evidently answered, "That is not an issue we can get that going in a past sit-down with YouTuber Vlad Television. Only this past Mickey D dropped a stunner that has people talking all over." He asserted that FBI specialists had purportedly informed him that Diddy had dished out a faltering $1 million to Eric Von Zoom for 2Pac's